I was recently listening to the Mel Robbins podcast, and she interviewed Dr. Trisha Pasricha, who wrote a book titled You've Been Pooping All Wrong. And they were talking about something we all do, hopefully every day, but almost never talk about. And I realized as an English teacher, whoa, if this is awkward to talk about in my own language, imagine for my students, for English language learners around the world who maybe come from cultures like ours in the US where we don't really talk about our poop. It's considered a taboo topic. So today and every day in my class, there's no shame. There are no taboo topics. If something is important and relevant to your life, you need to know how to talk about it in English. So let's not dive into the toilet bowl, but let's get into this topic. First, let's look at some vocabulary by levels. Level 1 is neutral and safe. Go to the toilet, use the restroom, go to the bathroom.
I need to use the restroom.
I need to use the restroom and take my pills.
I'm really tired and I need to use the restroom. Tex?
I need to use the restroom. Sorry, I have to really bad.
My elbow hurts and I have to go to the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom.
I think I have to go to the bathroom.
Level 2, these are very polite and they're indirect. They're appropriate for professional work situations. I need to step out. I'll be right back. Excuse me for a moment. I need to powder my nose.
Will you excuse me for a moment, please?
Now, if you gentlemen will excuse me, I have to use the powder room.
Oh, you'd like to use the powder room?
But first, I think I should use the powder room. Excuse me, I have to use the powder room. I was just going to use the powder room myself. I just have to powder my nose. Excuse me while I powder my nose. Sir, do you think you could let me powder my nose?
Level 3, these are informal, and these are usually the words we use when talking to children. Pee, poo, pee-pee, poo-poo. Number 1, number 2, I need to go.
Are you sure I don't need to pee or Bertha text him before we go?
More like, I don't trust that one of your kids didn't pee in the pool.
Did she just pull on me?
Means I must become one with the poo.
Marcel, did you poo in the shower? Now I have to poop.
I poop and I get nervous.
Poop. Really bad.
Level 4, these are slang expressions, and these are a little bit funny, and you should be careful using these. Definitely don't use them in a professional work setting. Only use these around very close friends and people with whom you feel very safe and open to be yourself. I need to take a leak. Take a dump. I'm about to blow up the bathroom. So you might want to go for a walk.
Ew.
Nature calls.
You get up and you go take a leak. I gotta take a leak. Take a leak.
Hey, Fernando, where do I take the leak around here?
Want that head so sanitary and squared away that the Virgin Mary herself would be proud to go in there and take a dump.
The average Ruski son don't take a dump without a plan.
Hey, if you want me to take a dump in a box and mark it guaranteed, I will.
Quiz time. Okay, so if you're in these situations, which expression or which phrase would you say? Which one would be most appropriate or acceptable? If you're in a job interview, if you're at dinner with friends, if you're on a date, if you're just chilling at home, if you're in a work meeting, what would you say? What's the most polite way to say it? What sounds rude? It is important to remember that saying number 1, number 2, pee-pee and poo-poo, these are for children. You don't want to say that, for example, if you have a doctor's appointment and you're trying to explain your symptoms, you don't want to tell the doctor, like, when I go number 2, when I poo-poo, I mean, you're not a kid. So you need to Use the correct vocabulary. Use the right language. By the way, do you use your phone in the bathroom? Ooh. Well, according to doctors like Dr. Trisha Pasricha, who was interviewed in the Mel Robbins podcast that I listened to, that's a really bad idea. Can you think of the reasons why? Have you ever heard of potpourri? It's a mixture of dried, naturally fragrant plant materials such as flowers, herbs, spices, and leaves used as a natural air freshener and decorative display in homes. It's often placed in bowls or sachets. It can also include essential oils and fixatives to intensify and prolong its scent. There's actually a product called poopery, which of course is a pun. The company was genius, and they named their fragrant spray poopery. So it's appropriate to use in the bathroom. In the USA, you'll often see this in people's homes, in their bathrooms. Or you might see other products that are just like a little fragrance spray. It's not perfume, but it's a special air freshener specifically for after someone poos in the bathroom. Ooh, now I'll never think of Winnie the Pooh the same again. If poop is so natural, why are we embarrassed to talk about it?
Let's go.
Here's something interesting we don't usually think about. We're not born thinking poop is disgusting, but it's right after we're born that we learn it is. From the time when we're babies, adults react strongly when they're changing our diapers, right? Think about it. Oh, that smells. Ugh, that's gross. No way, I can't change another diaper. What color is this? Like, what did you eat? Oh my God. Ugh. So without realizing it, we are trained from a very young age to associate anything related to toilets with shame and disgust. And maybe that's why, even now as adults, we avoid talking about it, even though it's completely natural. In psychology, this is called learned disgust response. It's part of our social conditioning. It happens during toilet training, and it's part of our early childhood language. So like many taboo topics in life, remember, we're not born embarrassed. We learn to be embarrassed. So let's take a look at some of the real life impacts of how our poop affects our health, how knowing about our poop affects our health, and talking about it can help our conversations with other people to know that what we're experiencing isn't so rare. It might be normal. And also so that we can discuss these symptoms and health conditions with our doctors. This is important. This is useful because you can use this when you're talking to your doctor. The technical word for poop is stool or a bowel movement. Okay, so these are the medical and formal words. So you can definitely use these when going to the doctor. And the doctor might ask, have there been any changes in your bowel movements recently? If you're talking about digestive issues, now these are important real world vocabulary words. You need these again to understand your symptoms or to talk to a doctor. Diarrhea, the difference, the spelling is different in British English versus US American English, but the pronunciation is the same, diarrhea. And that's when you are sick, maybe with food poisoning or a stomach bug, and you have very loose, watery stool.
There's a Russian prostitute in my kitchen talking diaper genies and infant diarrhea with my husband.
So what we're up to is a sorry we gave you diarrhea makeup dinner?
Jose here had a fall, and Manuel has diarrhea.
This is all because a child has some blood in his diarrhea.
Constipation. This is difficulty going to the toilet. Bloating. This is when you're feeling swollen in the stomach, and this is due to gas in your intestines. Cramps. This is stomach pain or abdominal pain due to gas or stool that's not passing through. And nausea, this is feeling like you might vomit. Here are some medical communication phrases. I've had diarrhea for 2 days. I feel bloated after eating bread. I'm constipated, or I've been constipated for a week now. I've noticed changes in my digestion. Research in health psychology and gastroenterology suggests that embarrassment around bodily functions can actually affect health behaviors. Here are 3 simple impacts. Number 1, delaying going to the toilet. People hold it in at work, school, or in public, and this could contribute to constipation, discomfort, worsening digestive issues over time. Number 2, not talking about symptoms. People avoid saying things like bloating, pain, changes in bowel habits, and what's the result? Conditions can go unnoticed longer than necessary. Number 3, anxiety and shame loop. Embarrassment leads to avoidance, which leads to more anxiety, which leads to more sensitivity about the topic. So the bottom line is, if something is normal, but we treat it as if it's shameful, then we don't talk about it, even when we should. Here are some discussion questions for you. What do parents say in your country when changing diapers? Is it the same everywhere? Do you know about some cultural differences that you've experienced or heard from friends? Do you think we are born embarrassed? Is it an innate response and feeling, or do we learn to feel this way about certain topics, such as going to the toilet? Does embarrassment ever affect health decisions? Why is it easier to talk about pain in your head or your arm rather than your stomach and your gut? And who would have thought that the topic of poop could make someone cry? But this topic is near and dear to my heart because it sounds weird to say that. But honestly, my Meemaw, when she was alive and when I was younger, and used to stay with her a lot, she would always tell me, like in the morning, like, make sure when you wake up in the morning, you go to the bathroom, you have your BM, and that means you have healthy digestion. And so I just always remember that. Anyway, I hope you have more positive than negative nostalgic memories about poop.